Hey folks, it's Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be the video, what makes a fighter a great fighter, and somebody asked this question, wanted me to comment on it. Basically, Confucius gave the answer to this over 2,500 years ago when he said, "He who conquers himself is the greatest warrior." And again, that was by Confucius. And basically, again, if you want to know what it takes to be a great fighter, it's about being a great human being. And what does it take to be a great human being? Which I constantly point out, there's only two problems in life, ego and pleasure. So a great fighter, it's not about arm bars, Muay Thai, and all these little techniques and this and that. It's all about restraining your ego, and I don't mean pushing your ego down. I mean actually questioning it, using these, 9 principles of falling away of growth, which, principle 5 is question everything. So it's about actually conquering it and restraining your ego and plucking it out as much as you can. And it's also about giving up pleasures, eating simpler, living simpler. And, I mean, you see it from John Jones going out living in the woods, supposedly, or, I guess he's got a cabin out there or something, I don't really know. But then you have Confucius, or Lao Tsu said, because he does not compete, and he says he didn't mean the sage, because the sage does not compete, he does not meet competition. So really, competition in itself is really a foolish activity, because usually competition requires one person to lose for another person to win. And so, when I watch MMA fights these days, I get frustrated with it, because after they beat some guy's ass, they're like, "Yeah, I won!" And I'm like, that's just ego. That shows that person's not on the highest level, and that somebody out there in this world may be on a higher level than that person is, and they're not in the octagon. So basically what I say competition is when two fools find themselves. So if you're competing, it's really an egotistical thing, and you just probably don't see it, even though I know you don't want to hear that. That is the truth. Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido, said, "The more I conquer myself, the easier it is to conquer others." And here's a problem I have with martial arts, basically in general, because typically if you watch martial arts, if a guy does this, then I do this. And I'm thinking, well, why did the guy grab you in the first place? Were you being egotistical? Were you being insulting? Was that guy filled with ego? So really, and again, I always say, ask the deeper questions. And I was watching a guy's video online talking about how to defend yourself. And it was, again, he always started out, if they do this, do that. Why are they doing it in the first place? And my point is, if you truly conquer yourself, nobody truly wants to hurt you. Because when I say you conquer yourself, I'm not saying being a good person. I'm saying if you truly conquer yourself, you have no fear, you have no bully-mindedness. And I'll be honest with you, that is an amazing state of mind to be in. I'm telling you, thugs and punks, they don't want nothing to do with a guy like that because they're scared. Because they're scared. At first they may want to punk you out, but when they look in your eyes and they see no fear whatsoever, and they see, feel no aggression, their spirit's going to wake up and say, you know what, this guy's going to kill me if I mess with him. And think about this. If you achieve perfect harmony with the essence of life, and I don't mean some pontifical philosophy, I mean you're really in harmony with everything. Harmony with the way you walk, talk, deal with people. You're in perfect harmony, nobody's going to want to hurt you. And let's say you're in perfect harmony and somebody wants to fight you because they think, I want to be the greatest, and they're stuck on ego, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? You're going to respond absolutely perfectly to that person. So you're going to see the first twinkling of thought that they want to hurt you. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to see them coming. You're just going to slightly move out of the way and watch them fall in. Then they're going to get up and come charging at you. You're going to move slightly to this way and watch them fall in. And let's say you're in a corner where you can't back up. Then you're going to see. It's going to be like Neo in the Matrix when he's dodging the bullets. I mean, it's not going to be quite like that. You know what I mean? You're going to be on such a high level that it just, trust me, that's really where you want to go. But in the short run, if you try to use these 9 principles and be Billy Badass, you're going to get your ass hurting in an MMA fight. But if you truly follow this and you conquer yourself over long periods of time, say 10 years, and versus somebody that does MMA for 10 years, guess what? You're probably going to be on a much higher level than them. There will come a day where they will not be able to compete with you, nor will you want to compete with them because you've conquered that ego of yourself of wanting to compete. And they're not going to find anything in you to compete against. So, I mean, it's really, A lot of things in life are paradoxical. They really are, because your ego just really screws everything up. And I think this is a book you'd really like too, The Budo Secrets, and let's see, Budo Secrets, and Stevenson's the one that wrote it, and it's by Shambhala, and it didn't come like this. I take the covers off books because they just get in the way. It's a real shiny blue cover, and here's what I'll give you. There's the stuff right there. I would read this book. It has a lot of good stuff in it. The Principles of Budo, and it just goes through a bunch of the principles of all these different martial arts schools over in Japan back in the day. Then part 2 is the Philosophy of Budo, which is pretty good too. I really liked all that. Then you got the Tales of the Masters, and this is what I was getting about a while ago. If you really follow this path, the 9 principles to be the most amazing person you can be, there's stories in here of Buddhist monks thrashing master martial arts. They'd go to their school and they were just sitting there watching, and I guess they started laughing because they could see how silly it was learning all these little techniques when really it's all about conquering yourself. And this one guy was going to attack him, going to ram him through with the spear, and he had 2 beggar bowls, and he just stopped it like that and just stopped the spear. And then when he felt the guy try to pull the spear back, he let go and he fell down, and they knew they had a real master in their presence. So don't underestimate the most important weapon you have, which is your mind and spirit. The body, we were talking, I said, what? Anyway, it was basically life is 50% spirit. I'm going to screw it up. Forget that. Let's go on to the next thing. And out of this book, they had a quote from, I think this guy was the founder of a judo. And one of his students said, what is the secret of judo? And he said, never stop training. And notice what I say back on that MMA training video. I'm basically telling you, you need to be practicing these principles all the time, every part of the day, 24/7. I'm talking about even when you're sleeping, you're practicing. Well, as much as you can when you're conscious. And that's when I knew I was really solid on what I was doing, because even when I sleep, I'm conquering my mind. And it's sort of like learning a foreign language. Once you start dreaming in a foreign language, you know you got it. So then this is, again, I screw names up, so this may not say this guy's name right. Takun said, cast everything off. And again, he's saying cast all that ego off, cast all your pleasures off. And he also said, arouse the mind without letting it settle anywhere. Okay, and he was an enlightened guy, so he was really good. Here's just a quote. If I remember, I said this: a fake champion does it for the glory, a real champion does it for the journey. And here's something you're going to completely underestimate. The balance between, and this goes back to that harmony thing I was saying before, balance between the masculine and the feminine. And this really keeps a lot of guys stuck on really not that great of fighters. And if you look at BJ Penn and George St. Pierre, what do they have a lot of? They have a lot of feminine in them. If you watch Dana White's blog, they're very feminine in the way they approach people and stuff. And you may think that's sort of gayish on surface, but really it is the higher level. And the correct balance between the feminine and masculine is about 85% feminine and 15% masculine. If you watch women, what are they doing? They're always paying attention. They're more subtle. They're more intuitive. They're paying attention to more details. They're bringing more stuff in. Well, guess what? If you got a guy that's found perfect balance between the masculine and feminine, he has all his manhood, but he's also very aware of everything. And again, it's like I said from the beginning. If I can see the first thought that you're going to hit me and going to do something to me, I can already be out of the way by the time you went to your 3rd or 4th thought. Because typically when a person hits you, it's not whack, they just hit you. Violence is an event. You know what I'm saying? There's an insult coming, and then it just starts gaining steam. But if I don't insult you anyway, then you're never going to gain that steam. But let's say you're you get insulted by anything. And I can see it spinning in your head. I can get out of the way before you're going to do it and then counter you. And I don't have to practice. I don't have to think about what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it to you. So, I mean, I don't know. That's probably my take on it all. Again, what makes a fighter a great fighter? Conquering yourself. And that's basically it. So, hopefully that answered your question. Hopefully that gives you some insight. And good luck with it all.